Expert in short sales and distressed property. Dave asked Dawn to explain what a short sale is.
Well, a short sale is when a homeowner is able to sell their property for less than what they owe their lender on their mortgage.
I got you. So, well, listen, banks have been really reluctant to handle short sales in the past. Are you finding they're more receptive with short sales now?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a lot better for a bank if they can sell a property as a short sale than a foreclosure. Obviously, when it goes into the foreclosure process, the home sits longer on the market, can start to deteriorate. Yeah. So there are a lot of incentives today.
Well, you know, here in South Florida, before the final determination, they could go 860 days, my goodness, before it's finalized, you know, and it's sitting there doing nothing. The house deteriorating is what's
exactly. And so what we're seeing now, they're closing short sales. In some cases, I've been able to close my short sales in 60 to 90 days.
Wow, that's terrific.
Absolutely. Well, the banks have set better systems in place, right? They have more employees working on the files and able to expedite the process. And there's also some financial incentives being offered by the banks to encourage homeowners to sell their homes as a short sale.
Tell me about that. What kind of deals are coming out there?
For instance, I just closed on a property last week where the homeowners received $20,000 from the bank to list and sell their home as a short sale.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because possibly if they weren't able to give them that money to make that move, the homeowner might have had to go into foreclosure, which would have meant that they would have sat in the house maybe another year or so until the foreclosure was finalized. So it's definitely more economical for the banks to go that route.
Are you seeing a lot of short sales now? Oh,
yeah, definitely. The first half of this year, there were 2,200 short sales that about 2,200 that closed here in Palm Beach County. Half under 100,000.
Really?
Yeah, half under 100,000. Yes.
Well, you and I both see. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, you got a $250,000 house. Now it's valued at $125,000.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, they're fabulous deals and opportunities now for a buyer that wants to get into the short sale market.
Well, you know, another thing that you mentioned to me is there's an IRS situation involved in these short sales. What's that all about?
Yes, there's the tongue twister is the mortgage for the Forgiveness Debt Relief Act, and that is supposed to expire at the end of this year. What that did was that allowed people, for instance, I had a client who purchased a home for $225,000, sold it as a short sale for $125,000. So that $100,000 without that relief act, she'd be taxed on. She'd have to pay income tax. So depending on her bracket, $100,000 debt, she might have to pay $15,000 to $20,000 in taxes. And that is supposed to end December 31st of this year. So if a person is thinking of doing a short sale, listing their home, now is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. They are trying to extend the act through 2015, but
Congress, you never know what those guys
do. You don't know. So if someone is thinking about short selling their home, now is the time to do it. Gives them 6 months to close the property and not have to be faced with that.
Yeah, because they could really get whacked with a big tax bill.
Right. Now, that isn't available for everybody, okay? So if it's available for someone with a primary residence, if it's a second home, or you use that second mortgage to, do remodeling and things like that, then you don't have that tax break.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's very important to keep in mind.
Well, listen, you've been around, you're a pro, you've been in the real estate business here in South Florida for a long time, you really know what's going on. How is the market now? Is it picking up?
Oh, well, I mean, things have always been, I think, hot for a buyer and an astute buyer too. You know, so there's a lot of things going on. Interest rates are low, right? They're below 4%, so that's an incentive for a buyer. Again, like we said, the banks are working with buyers today when it comes to doing short sales and working with sellers, but inventory is low. Inventory is low. So it is low. So prices are starting to go up.
All right, so we're seeing an uptick. So
Absolutely, absolutely. No,
well, it's good. We're recovering a little bit because 4 or 5 years ago we went right into the tank. It was a miserable time then.
Yeah. Well, we see prices going up, and that shrinkage in the inventory is helping that.
One more thing. Are we able to get loans and financing some of the properties?
Well, that is the tricky thing too, and that's why it's really important to know what your credit score. Work on that. Be prepared. That's something. If you are thinking of buying a home, really run your credit. Go talk to your lender, and find out if you can be pre-approved to go move forward and purchase a home.
One quick thing now: if you get in a short sale, your credit rating could get whacked. How can you counteract that? Well,
I had a client who last year she had to do 2 short sales, and her credit score this year is back up to 720.
Wow.
So, that could be an individual situation, but we say that short sales is bruised credit. Foreclosure is going to mean bad credit.
Yeah.
So
it's certainly better to try to negotiate a short sale rather than let it go into foreclosure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Dawn Forgione, God bless you. You've been here. Thanks for coming back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
You were here a long time ago. I can't remember. Several years.
Yeah, but thank you. I really appreciate it, and it's going to be another great year. So
all right.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
All right. And stay with us. We'll return right after the